How the heck are you guys? I am Fastidious, and welcome to my Watcher of Realms guide for Gear Dungeon 1, stages 11, 12, and 13. We just got 3 new stages at the time of filming this in Gear Dungeon 1 and Gear Dungeon 2, and they provide new challenges to this content that has been out for a while. In Gear Dungeon 1 specifically, the challenge we face is constantly having our ultimate rage pushed back by the Volca boss. When she does her big AoE attack with Crimson Moon, no longer are we just receiving damage, now we're having our rage pushed back. And this is very difficult to deal with. Now, I'm quite proud of the strategy I am going to show you here. We don't use Valara, Demi, Eris, Draylin. I am avoiding certain key units. However, by avoiding those units, some other units become unavoidable, as you're going to see here. At the time of filming, this has been out for like a week. I'm finally getting around to filming my guide. I beat this last week on stream. You can go check out that VOD if you want. But at the time of filming, I have not been able to find a comp that can beat this without Ezerith or Demi. So far, from what I have tried and tested, you need one of those two. I am hoping, and I believe it will happen, we'll find other strategies without those two. As soon as I find one, I will make a video on it. Or if you already know one, or you're watching in the future and you figured one out, let me know in the comments or DM me on Discord. You can join my Discord in the description and the top pinned comment. But basically, unfortunately, you need one of those two from what I've seen so far and what I've been able to figure out. So we're going to do an Ezerith comp here. I think it's a little more straightforward. However, on the bottom, I have made it as user-friendly, as relatable, as approachable as possible. That as possible is a key thing though, because yes, I am bringing 3 epic units. I did scale things back a little bit, but especially for stage 13, you need very, very good gear. And for the strategy I'm going to show on the bottom, it is super doable, what I've created, at least compared to what I've seen other people do and put forward. But you're still going to need the great gear. You're still going to need a Virna, and you're going to need some exclusive gear, exclusive artifacts. So it is a balancing act. Sorry for the big preamble to kick off the video, but I wanted to get that out of the way because inherently the way they designed this new hard content, it is pretty gear dependent. It is pretty hero dependent. Without further ado though, let's head into the fight. It's pretty technical, so I'm going to take it slow and talk you through everything. Then at the very end, I will show you the builds, explain them, and display the gear.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you appreciate my content, please do subscribe to the channel. At the time of filming, we're almost at 50,000 subscribers. Please do that, give it a thumbs up, and let's get into it. So, for stage 13, it takes a ton. I will say for stage 11 and kind of stage 12, you can get away with lesser gear. But this specific strat is going to work for all 3 stages. We are going to use Virna on the bottom. She's our main DPS. Then we've got Zealous for anti-heal and DPS. We've got Broke here and Jorge, of all people, for tanks. I'm basically using Jorge because he's so cheap. 13 cost is very, very, very nice, and he's a little underrated. He's pretty good. Then we've got Hollow for rage and heals, and then we need Laurel to keep Zealous cycling with the anti-heal. We will also use Hearts just when we have to take Jorge off for a minute so we can put Laurel back down. If that doesn't make sense, it will once you watch it. And then on top, we have our little trio, our triumvirate of Valise, Ezerith, and Elowen. For my original clear, I used Ireless instead of Elowen. Elowen I just think is a little more user-friendly since more people seem to have her, so I swapped out Ireless, but if you have Ireless, she absolutely works too. Without further ado, let me just show you, of course, Power of Dominance is off, and let's head into battle. Hopefully it goes silky smooth. So as soon as this loads in, we're going to get ready to place Virna. She will go on this platform pointed to the left, and right after that we'll place Brokir. You don't have to be that fast, but Brokir does have to come out before the Volca boss is summoned and then does her first hit. She's going to focus in on tanks, but if there are no tanks to focus, she's going to hit your healer or your Virna or something. So we get Brokir placed. You could already place Hollow, but I like to just wait. You can see she does that basic attack at Brokir. Now we'll place our Hollow. Hollow is wearing a Wings of Grace set, so she's giving herself plus 12% attack, as well as the ally in her range with the highest attack at the time when she's deployed. So that, of course, is going to be Virna. Virna also is getting plus 12% attack. It's very nice. We need as much damage as possible out of our Virna. Now let's wait One thing to point out as we wait, actually, let's pause it here. You'll see that Crimson Moon hit is about to come, and that's the big change in stages 11, 12, and 13. Up through stage 10, that Crimson Moon hit is just a big AoE. Starting with 11 through 13, it's also going to reduce the enemy target's rage. So you'll see that right now. Look at that. Everyone gets pushed back. Not a big deal right now, but it is really important because it informs all your timings throughout the battle. It just gives you a whole other list of things to cycle through in your head, and it complicates the runs a lot. One thing I want to point out, you can see here, we're getting ready to place Zealous. My Zealous is 22 cost. Yours might be 25. At A5, his cost is reduced by 3, but as I'll show you in this battle, you don't need him at a lower cost. So 22 is going to be fine. We got him at 22 cost here. We'll wait till we're at 25 to deploy him. Actually, let's wait, like I said. There you go, 24, 25. And you'll see later when we deploy Valise, we're actually going to deploy Valise when we have 23 costs, not 20, just to make up for that extra 3 we're getting here. Now, here's the first tricky timing of the battle. She's going to come now in a second with her, I think it's the second, maybe the third Crimson Moon hit so far, but it's the first one we're worried about because we have to get Zealous's ult off. Zealous, we need to ult early. He's our anti-heal unit. He also brings a ton of slows, very clutch. It is important for the strategy. You need Zealous's exclusive bangle because it makes his ult last 10 seconds longer. So instead of 12 seconds, it's 22. But the timing here is very important. So we're going to click on Zealous as this runs out. And as it goes, it's hard to see behind this tooltip while I have it in slow-mo, but she's turning, like twisting her body so she can go back and hit us. As long as you trigger this before she starts coming back towards us, like right here, even though it gets pushed back, he's going to get the ult off in time. You see that? And it's important you get it off as late as possible because he's going to help us with the damage. It's going to make sure his slows stay up as long as possible, his anti-heal. It's pretty key to the run. Right after that, we can place Ezreath and get ready with things on top. Another thing to point out, it doesn't explicitly say this in the tooltip for Ezreath's Lord skill, but part of his, like the special part of his Lord skill, the thing at the bottom where he increases faction team members' damage by 25%, he does need to be deployed for that. I've tested it out. The way they wrote it, it does not sound like he needs to be, but trust me, he does. So there's a fun little tip for you and a missing piece of his kit. Because of course, there's always something missing. Let's wait now. And you'll see, we're going to get good damage out of my Zealous and especially Virna, but I still, to be safe, like to wait. So even though her ult's about to be ready right here, right? There you go. I like to wait till that front skeleton guy's like halfway through this tile right above Zealous. So like right there. That's when I'm going to trigger Virna. And right after we'll trigger Hollow. And you'll see it made sure that those guys had taken enough damage that after her ult, they were at 40% HP or lower, so they were in her execute threshold. So if you don't have her exclusive bangle, her exclusive gear, they need to have 30% health or less. Otherwise, it's 40% health or less, which is obviously better, so I suggest her bangle. You can do it without it, but of course it's tough. So that's why I'm suggesting you wait. I can actually do it a lot earlier, the second my Virna's ult is ready, but for the sake of showing you guys, I wanted to, express when they're halfway through that tile, that's the best optimal timing. You can't really wait longer, but no reason to do it earlier if you can help it. So here comes a Crimson Moon hit. There they go. Right after that, we're going to place Valise, and we're going to point her from this platform to the left. On my original clears, I had her pointing down, but actually, she's a lot smoother if you point her to the left. It ensures that her summons can hit the 2 mobs that are going to show up on these 2 tiles right behind the portal that opens. Otherwise, she can't consistently reach them. I didn't realize this until after my first clear. Shout out to one of my mods, another content creator, R-Type, who pointed it out. He was very nice to not spoil it for me before I beat it my stupid way with her pointing down. So just know, yes, it works if she points down, but there's no reason to do that. Just point her to the left. All right, let's wait now. Some interesting timing coming up. As soon as we have 12 costs, we're going to place Laurel. My Laurel is also in a Wings of Grace set, so she's giving that plus 12% attack buff to Zealous. And also, if Laurel's on the field and not ulting, and someone ults, that unit will get plus 20% damage for 8 seconds. So we're going to take advantage of that with Valise here. So I'm not picking up Laurel yet. First, I'm going to trigger Valise's ult. Then I'm going to pick up Laurel. So now you'll see in a second, Valise, for 8 seconds, is going to get plus 20% damage. And the only really hard part for the top here is the first cycle. All the timings still require your attention, but up until this point, Valise has not stacked all the bonus attacks she picks up throughout the battle. through her interactions with Ezerith. So it's important you get this done properly. That 20% actually helps, and there's no reason not to get it because you're going to use Laurel anyway. As soon as we get 16 costs, we're going to place Eloin. We're going to place her here pointing down so she can heal both these guys. She's in an Invig set, so she's giving that bonus to Valise and to herself. And you can see when we did the Laurel pickup, obviously, we had a big rage boost for Zealous. So now it's the same operation. We want to wait as long as possible to trigger Zealous's ult. Here we go. She goes to turn. There you go. You see the staff go back. That's when we trigger Zealous. Throw this on 1x. Now, these summons are getting ready to finish all their attacks. As soon as that happens, we can switch Ezerith to Devourer mode. So as soon as they come to him, he's ready to consume these summons. So here we go. He's going to get these things lighting up. So he gets a stack of Dark Spores. Also, when he consumes those summons, Valise is going to have her Rage boosted. A very nice synergistic interaction. So some tricky timing here on the bottom. We wait. Get ready with Jorge. Place Jorge here, and now we're going to go with Broke here. You can see I placed Jorge when we had 14 cost. We do have a little extra cost because of Zealous. If you wanted to be safe, you can place Eloin earlier. It's just a trickier timing. So what you would do is you'd place Eloin before Ezerith, so it'd go Valise, Eloin, Ezerith instead of Ezerith, Valise, Eloin. It does work, but then you're going to need a little bit more damage on your Virna and Zealous to make sure you get those first kills. So we get Jorge down there. Also, we're all filled up now with Ezra, so we can switch him back to the red mode, to the destroyer mode. Now we're just waiting until Virna is ready to ult, but look how much damage we're getting at the bottom now. We need our Jorge to hold on. Also, the reason I saved that ult from Broke here is while he's frozen, he's giving the improved reductions to everyone. So instead of 10%, it's 30% physical reduction and magic reduction. This helps keep Jorge alive. And now basically, we're just hammering here with Virna and making sure she can get that ult off. She gets it off and we're good to go. We're also going to ult with Valise right afterwards, just to get a little bit extra damage. And this first hardest part of the battle is over. If you focus on the top here, we're getting those big enhanced attacks every few seconds from Ezerith, and then he's able to execute these units, so that's taken care of. I did just miss a hollow ult there, but it's okay. It's very tight timing. We'll get it right here. She was ready just as the Crimson Moon was coming. Let's ult with her right now. And we're good to go. So after we get these 2 hits from Ezerith and these guys run out of their hits, we're going to switch Ezerith back to Devourer mode once they return to him. Or head over to him, I should say. Ooh, excuse me. So wait, we can also ult with Broke here now. It helps lining up the next one. Trust me, it just does. So these guys are heading back to Ezerith. Let's ult with him. Also get an element ult, because why not? Here comes the Crimson Moon to knock everyone back. There you go. All right, now this is the reason why we need a 3rd tank. So we're using King Hearts here. Doesn't matter too much. We're bringing him anyway to be the Lord for Broke here. But you can see we have no deployable units right now, right? No deployable units are left. So to be able to place Laurel and pick her back up, we need to take someone off, place Laurel, pick Laurel up, and put someone else back down. So temporarily, King Hearts will be our 2nd tank and take Jorge's role. So we're waiting. We're going to pick up Jorge. Could have even picked him up a little bit earlier. Now we place Laurel. We pick up Laurel. Watch Zealous here have his thing filled up. We also got to switch Ezerith right now to Destroyer mode, so he's ready for when these guys start moving. And now we can place Hearts to take that spot that Jorge was in. Also, Valise is ready, so let's ult with her. And let's get ready for that next Crimson Moon, because we want to do it, as always, as late as possible. That time you can see Valise actually just took care of everything. She really starts stacking and stacking and stacking and becoming a crazy DPS. Let's wait for the Crimson Moon here. There it is. Let's go with Zealous. To go. Now already we can wait. I was going to say we could ult with Broke here, but he got pushed back. Excuse me. Now we're just keeping an eye on Virna. As soon as these guys come back, remember, we're going to switch Ezerith to Devourer mode instead of Destroyer mode. You can tell he's in Destroyer mode when his wings are red. He's in Devourer mode when his rings are purple. Took me a while to realize that. A viewer let me know in chat. All right, let's go with Virna. That should take care of it. Watching these guys to see when they run out. You can see this guy's just turning grayish black, so he's just running out. Now we can switch Ezerith back. and we're looking pretty good. So he's in Devourer mode, eating up those summons. Here comes a Crimson Moon. You can go with King Hearts there and get some shields. We're going to go with Valise really quick to get some more summons out just in time. And once again, we'll take care of this pretty clean. Let's switch Ezreath back to red mode, to destroyer mode. Now we're focusing in on the bottom. We're also getting ready to get Jorge and Laurel back so we can do another cycle. Pick up Hearts, put down Laurel, pick up Laurel, get down Jorge. You can see at this point, Valise can just take care of the top. We wait. All right, perfect timing. Jorge's there. Let's pick up King Hearts. Let's wait for Laurel. Let's place her. Let's pick her up. Now Zealous is going to be ready. Let's place Jorge. Crimson Moon's coming. Remember, we want to be as late as possible with Zealous. Let's trigger him there. Can also get a trigger with Broke here, so he's going to get himself frozen, increase his reductions as well as everyone around him, most importantly Jorge. If you're using Element, obviously we don't need it, but we can just place her here, place her Wood Elf there, just for some extra healing on Jorge, make sure everything's silky smooth. Now these guys are heading back to Ezreath. We can switch Ezreath to Devourer mode. Keeping an eye on Virna and Hollow on the bottom. You can see your eyes are drawn in a lot of directions here, unfortunately. You'll get used to it. Here comes an Empress Banquet. We're going to switch Ezreath back to Destroyer mode, as well as ult with Valise. Now we're going to go with Hollow for some boosted heals and a little bit of Rage Regen to make sure Virna's ready as soon as possible. And we're done. Believe it or not, just like that. So you can see my damage was very good. When I show you the builds, I do think a lot of people are gonna be like, these builds are insane. You could get away with even stage 13 if you get perfect timing like this. If you watch my guide enough, I encourage you to do so, because the timings took me hours to master, honestly. I mean, even this video, this is my 4th time recording the run because it's so hard to get the timings while explaining. But you can get away with, if you have good timings, a slightly worse build on a lot of these units, as you're gonna see. Don't worry too much about that, but just quickly switch Ezreath back and forth as we move over. I might have been a little greedy there. Oh my God, I hope I didn't blow the run. Here we go. There we go. Good. His ult comes so fast. It's only 50 rage. So we got it, and then we switched it back. We didn't need extra Dark Spores, so it was a little foolish, but we got it done. So there you go. As you can see, there are a lot of moving parts, unfortunately, but like I said, you will get used to it. But this is the kind of run that you might have to practice a lot. I think leading up to filming right now, I practiced this for like an hour and a half after having streamed it for 2 hours the other day when I figured it out. So don't be discouraged. You only have to beat this once, then you'll have Power of Dominance, and it's very, very easy. So don't worry. Let's look at those stats now. You can see Virna is our superstar. Then we've got Zealous, who's certainly not doing nothing, right? He's contributing. So you can do this with Artemis instead of Zealous, or certainly with Demi if you have her, but obviously she's harder to have. But you can do it with Artemis, but then you're going to probably need an A1 Artemis, and you're going to have to build some kind of DPS build on him. It's really nice the way Zealous helps chop the units down and makes it easier for Virna to execute them, get them under that HP threshold so she can just delete them. Your Zealous will totally work at A0. A1 is going to be the best because he gets a little bit more consistent slows, but A0 is completely fine. The only thing you absolutely need for him is his exclusive artifact and his exclusive bangle. Then you can see Valise is doing the bulk of the damage, but Ezreath is coming in with the synergies he gives her, as well as those executes when we need them. Jorge even did a touch of damage, and then him, Broke here, and Hearts were our tanks. These are our healers at the bottom. You can see all the healing that Hollow did. That is going to be the run. So we actually got it in one pure take. As you can see, Power Dominance was off. Of course it was. Let me go through everyone very, very quickly. Let's start with Virna because she's the most important. You're going to want to give her as much rage as you can give her while still optimizing every single stat. 93% rage is probably slightly overkill, but I would shoot for about 60%. I know that's annoying. That means you have to hunt rage regen as a substat from 3 different pieces of gear of your 5. But I do think that's basically what it requires. Or it could be 2 pieces if you have humongous rolls. You'll see I've got some really nice stuff. This is an exclusive Virna Bangle. These are the main subs you're always looking for. Crit rate, crit damage, attack, and rage regen. But remember, if you've got good gear, this is pretty endgame content, you can ignore crit rate on 1 piece of gear. She's a cultist. If you can get some other good crit rate rolls, you can make up the difference, right? Here she's at 98% crit rate, but remember I was saying she's a cultist. The cultist collection bonus is another 3% crit rate. So you only have to get her to 97% or higher. So this piece is literally perfect. And here's a cool piece, also perfect substats. This is a Beatrix exclusive. I had to recast a couple times. And then this is my best cursed cult ring. Do you need her in this gear? In theory, no, if you had like an insane artifact. I don't. It's only promo 2. It's definitely the best thing for her. That bangle goes a very long way. Otherwise, you'd need an even better build on Zealous or Artemis whomever's helping out. Maybe you got Malvira helping as a tank to get some extra damage. But I do suggest doing this kind of build. Just put your best gear on her. That's what I did. Remember, she doesn't need attack speed, so you just want this trio. If you had attack bonus, crit rate, crit damage, rage regen, that would be better. But you can see I got this huge crit rate roll, which enabled me to use this piece. So no crit rate here. I got all the other stats I wanted. Attack bonus, crit damage, flat attack, or rage regen. That's possible because she's a cultist, so I get 3% extra crit. And then I was hunting big crit rate rolls as much as I could. We had to settle for one low crit rate roll here, but then we got the big one here, the big one here. We made up for it. For her artifact, if you don't have her exclusive, definitely use Tear of Twilight. You definitely don't need her exclusive. Technically, like I said, you don't need her bangle, but this is a lot more important to have than the exclusive. But if you have her exclusive, it is good. But even with promo 2, I got away with it. No crazy rolls there or anything. So definitely make sure also she's fully skilled. You don't need the bond skill for this, though it is nice. I'm not going to go as in-depth on every single unit, but she is the most important, so that is why I'm highlighting her. For that bottom strat, as sweaty as I had it to work, you're going to want a pretty dang good Virna. Let's go a lot faster now. With Zealous, you absolutely need his exclusive artifact. It boosts his damage, which is cool, but most importantly, it makes it so he does anti-heal during his ult. Since this got buffed a few months ago, it's not a partial anti-heal, it's a full anti-heal, and you definitely need that. The other thing you definitely need is his bangle. It's the only way you can get the timing to work. This makes his ult duration 10 seconds longer, and that's just very important, right? Because that's 10 more seconds of him having totally consistent slows from his kit, extra damage, and of course, what you really need, the anti-heal. So same story with Zealous. Yeah, we got his exclusive bangle. We're looking for good Cataclysm gear. Nothing crazy here, though, right? He also doesn't need attack speed like Virna, so you can ignore that. This is a pretty good piece. We're looking for some rage regen. Again, I'd suggest 60% or more. You can see I've got 68%. Nice little piece here. Again, we can ignore the attack speed. And then here I actually got a piece, no crit damage, but a big rage regen roll. That attack speed doesn't help, but that extra rage regen was needed. Showed you the artifact. Those are the two main units that are so stressful to build. Everything else kind of comes together normally. So we're going to go a lot faster now. Let's just work our way down the line. For Ezrith, I've got him in a Soulbound Arcana. It's actually not my best Soulbound Arcana. Good gear, but nothing too crazy. I'll click through quickly. He doesn't need any tankiness, so just build him with as much DPS as possible. I did do some really nice Wicked Vengeance on the left, but as you saw, Valise was kind of the superstar. So between the two of them, that's who should probably get the better gear. Very quickly, I wanted to explain that thing about Ezrith's Lord skill. So you can see with any Lord in this game, any Legendary Lord, the first part is true of all Legendary Lords. The second part is true of all Lords of that faction. It will usually be a little stronger for the Legendary Lords. The third part, which starts with increases faction team members' damage by 25%, is always unique to each Legendary Lord. So here you can see for Ezrith it states, increases faction team members' damage by 25%, period. Feels like that's the end of that idea, right? Then it says, separately, when the Lord is on the battlefield and an allied summon dies, increases all faction team members' damage by an additional 5% for 15 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So it can be another 15% damage, right? So 25 base, and then if an allied summon dies while he's on the battlefield, every time stacking up to 3 times, lasting for up to 15 seconds, you can get more damage. However, from my testing, that initial increases faction team members' damage by 25% doesn't happen if he's not on the field. So it sounds like that is happening regardless of him being deployed, but I've tested it explicitly. That is not the case. So that's why you want to get him out as soon as possible. It really helps Zealous and especially Virna to make sure you kill that first bunch, those first 8 units or so, because otherwise it's just way too sweaty. So do that. Definitely do that. Trust me. Let's go to the artifact now. Frigid Flame, I think for sure is the best for this. He's not very consistently taking damage, so you never lose more than 1 stack at a time. Total stats, there you go. Pretty cool stuff. I will actually quickly show you the total stats on Zealous and Virna since I forgot to do that. There's Zealous. You can see attack speed does not matter, so I didn't touch it. Rage Regen does, so I focused in there. Here's Virna. 21k attack. Pretty good crit damage, crit capped. Again, attack speed does not matter, so I ignored it. So here we go. Valise now. I've got her also in Cataclysm, really just for this ring. Not the greatest rolls, but really big crit damage at least. Good exclusive piece, undeniably. Here you can see I did my little trick. I ignored crit rate on one piece. I'm taking advantage of that Cultist Collection bonus. So even though I built her with 97.5% crit, it's actually 100.5%. So this is a really nice piece where I could get all the other stats I needed. Big crit rate roll here to make up for it. This is a very nice piece. Here we got a good crit rate roll, a nice quad. And then here we got a very, very good quad, the best one on my account. So like I said, I prioritized her as the top DPS on the top lane. But remember, her and Ezreath easily beat it. It's only that first cycle that's tricky, so you could get away with a lot worse of a build on her and Ezreath. The build you really need to focus your absolute best gear in optimizing is going to be that Virna build. That's the toughest build. And let me remind you again, please, for stage 11, you do not need this endgame of gear. All right? Let's keep it moving now. Who do we got next? Jorge, just trying to get him as tanky as possible. He's in Tempered Will, hunting the normal tank stats. He's got very, very low base stats, but that 13 cost is just so hard to beat. It's so good for our cycling at the beginning. It makes everything easier. I'm sure there are ways to do this without him, but he's the cheapest tank in the game, and I wanted to make good use of him. So 92,000 HP, 7,600 defense. With this gear, that's still the best I could get on Jorge. For the artifact, obviously, for him and Brokir, run a Bastion Ring. Technically, you could run Brokir's exclusive on him, but it's just worse for this content than the Bastion Ring. Speaking of Brokir, let's just show him off now. We've got the same kind of gear as Jorge. We do have the North Throne exclusive, but really not crazy rolls. Here's some Astral Guardian. This is a nice piece. This one's okay. Good amount of HP. And like I said, the artifact, we got the Bastion Ring. Let's go back in order. We finished that top row. King Hearts, he's barely down. He's only surviving one rip. And you can get his ult off in time so he can self-shield. If you have him A1, he can give shields to everyone. Very easy to build, just random Guardian gear. This is pretty random, mid-game, late-game stuff. These are nice rolls, but we don't need it. These are pretty good rolls, but he barely takes any damage. He's barely on the field. So there you have it, another Bastion Ring. All these guys need the extra block. For Laurel, the stats couldn't matter less. I went for tankiness in case I decide to leave her down longer. We didn't. I'm just looking HP bonus main stat and Wings of Grace. That's really, really it. Artifact doesn't matter. She never even gets an ult off. Hollow, I don't even run her on the cultists because we're bringing 6 cultists into this fight. We've got Wings of Grace. This is pretty good healing gear. It's not the best on my account, but it's definitely good stuff. It's nice to get that Wings of Grace bonus on Virna, but if you have Invig, just use Invig. Attack bonus for the main stat on everything is important. Healing effect does not scale well with the heals, and you can get plenty from set bonuses and from substats. I also just got to say, attack just goes so much further. If you've got good enough gear, you can get attack speed in the substats, and you can see that's what I'm doing here. So to the left side, a little tankiness with attack bonus and attack speed. Same story here, a little rage regen as well. You actually don't really need much. I think 20% rage regen or more would be plenty. For the artifact, we've got the Elysian Epitaph. It just helps the single target heals. All of her heals are coded as single target, even when it's hitting the 2 targets. So that is good to go. Finally, we've got Eloin. She doesn't need to do that much healing, honestly. And if you could put her in Wings of Grace, do it. I just figured I would keep her in Invig because why not? We're just looking for attack bonus and attack speed to keep things going. But frankly, Valise and Ezreath don't take that much damage, or whomever you use on top. So whoever your second healer on top is, the build doesn't matter too much. So there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. She's in the Ty's Balm, by the way. This was a ton of work to put together. Like I said, it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours of prep, and then I had to film this 4 different times, yapping as much as I've been yapping right now on each take. So if you appreciate it, if you made it to the end of the video, please do subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll tell you for a little sneak peek at the end, I'm hoping at the time of filming this, I'm filming on Tuesday night. I'm hoping tomorrow on Wednesday, I will stream my Gear Dungeon 2, stage 11, 12, and 13. So you can look forward to that. Thank you so much. I've been Fastidious. Share it with your mother, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.